speaker for today. Thank you, Paige.
Hi, y'all. My name is Paige. I'm the Community Engagement and Museum Interpretation Manager at the Harn Museum of Art, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I have the pleasure this morning of introducing JoLaine. She will be your docent this morning as we talk about gender representation in art in the collection of the Harn. A little behind the scenes about JoLaine. Before starting volunteering at the museum, she worked at UF in the IT department, collaborating closely with faculty on their Canvas needs. She joined the Harn in 2019 and has been an active docent for the last 5 years, contributing to a variety of different tours, a lot with adults, high schoolers, and UF students. She also is an active board member and our education chair and contributes a lot to our docent education and enrichment programs. And then outside of the Harn, she is a dancer, she is a musician, and she is a dog mom. So I'm really excited to have her join us today to share those passions.
Thank you, Paige. The dog mom, I think that's the most important thing. My pronouns are also she, her, so thank you for that. And we're going to be talking about gender in art today. Thank you, Julianne. There we go. Oh, thank you. Here we go. He, she, they, gender representation in art. So gender is one of the strongest societal constructs in our world. What's the first thing we ask when somebody has a baby? Boy or girl, right? It is so pervasive that it often goes unnoticed, but I'm going to ask us to notice today. We have several pieces of art that shine a light on gender and how it influences the way we live in the world. I was interested in this topic due to my involvement in folk dancing. So Paige mentioned that I'm a dancer. I do contra dancing, English country dancing. I play in the bands. It's a called dance. And it's historically referenced ladies and gents. But lately there's been pushback, mostly from younger generations, on using gendered role names. Why does it matter my gender, they ask. Can I dance any role I want to with anyone I want to? Why does a couple have to be a man and a woman? In lots of ways, these young people have pointed out to me how blindly I've gone through life accepting most of the gender roles that have been assigned to me. But of course, this discussion isn't new. I'm currently reading Listen World, the biography of journalist Elsie Robinson, who came of age in the early 1900s. She struggled against the gendered strictures of her day. I'll read this quote. The Victorian sensibilities of the time held that men and women were fundamentally different and must therefore behave and dress in ways that magnified these differences. According to Godey's Ladies' Book, a popular monthly magazine, true women were timid and delicate beings who required protection and possessed a sweet dependency. In contrast, men were admired for their decisiveness and rugged individualism. These traits were distilled into fashion. Women wore dresses in flowery calicos and ornate hats looking like frivolous baubles, while men's wear was both practical and comfortable, dark, loose, and plain. The underlying message was not lost on Elsie. In women, appearance was exalted. In men, action. Needless to say, Elsie was a very actioned woman. We have made massive changes since the Victorians in how restrictive gender norms are. But what gender norms still limit us today? Artists can help us examine these roles. And I mentioned that I'm in contra dancing. I'm going to share a little video with you that is a lot of fun, that kind of talks about the gendered roles in dancing. Happens to be square dancing, but there's some similarities. It should just click on it. It should play. Yeah. Well, we won't spend too much time. It's a lot of fun, but. Oh, there it is. Here's play. Maybe we should do one on technology and art. There we go.
Pick your left foot up, put your right foot down. Better hurry up or you never get around. Now it's come to the time of night. Ladies on the left and men on the right. And when I say men, I mean gender, not sex. It's not about chromosomes, Y and X. I was wrong last week when I said they're the same. Now I know better won't happen again. You see, our good friend Steven set me straight. Ignorance is a breeding ground for hate. Yes, thanks to Steven, now I know. Gender is a construct, do-si-do. Thanks, Steven. Appreciate it, buddy. You are ahead of me on this stuff. That is for sure. Grab the hand of your best girl, give it a squeeze, then give her a whirl. Last week I said that if you're both men, whirl the one that's more feminine. Then Steven gave me an informative chat about how that's heteronormative crap. Thanks, Steven. I did not know. Appreciate it. So instead, you choose which one of you whirls. And that also goes if you're both girls. And what do I see emerging from the herd? Well, it's our good friend Steven to have a word. Sexist. Really? It's patriarchal. Right. Well, it seems I've given a bit of an insult. Girls is demeaning when referring to adults. It was wrong of me to call women girls. I needed a word that rhymes with whirls. And that reminds me, you can all stop whirling your partner just like a top. And I don't mean top in the sexual sense. I realize top and bottom reinforces the idea that the penetrator is superior, and you know what? Never mind, let's not get into that. Find your mister or your miss, give them a bow, then blow them a kiss. What is it now? Consent culture. Yep. Okay, yep. Thank you. Well, that last direction I have to augment. Before you blow a kiss, you have to get consent. And verbal consent is the only will abide. Otherwise, consent is only just implied. And Steven also reminded me that there's other lifestyles than monogamy, which means that I've been being rude, 'cause most of these are two-person moves. So instead of doing the promenade, y'all just stand in an amorphous blob. And actually stand is able-bodied bias, because people in wheelchairs just can't try it. So instead, lay down and start breathing in and out. And, oh geez, what is it now, Steven? Self-aware. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, maybe they have souls. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense if they're self-aware. Let's do this. Well, I guess it wasn't very fair of me to ignore the impending singularity. See, fairly soon we'll be joined by bots, dancing along in the exact same spot. Breathing in and out just can't be done by self-aware robots who don't have lungs. And even sane robots know a way to behave. Robot comes from the Czech word for slave. So people, machines, whatever you are, you can do whatever you want. There's no wrong move, apparently. I'm a remnant of an antiquated age. Thanks, Steven. We're all having a lot of fun tonight because of you.
It is funny sometimes. The conversations we're having these days, I do sometimes feel like I'm from an antiquated age. So today's art, oh, let me get our slides back up. We'll be looking at the pieces today as windows, mirrors. Whoops, we don't want to watch it again, although it's fun.
Pick your left foot up, put your right foot down.
So windows and mirrors. We can look at a piece of art as a window into someone else's world, maybe a world we're not familiar with. We can also look at art as a mirror to reflect back something about our own lives. So today we're going to be using that image, windows and mirrors, to look at these pieces. Okay, there's our windows and mirrors. There we go. That's okay. Thank you.
Better hurry up or you never get around. Now,
First, we couldn't get it to play. Now we can't get it to stop. There we go. Yay. That's okay. Now let's look at our first piece of art. What stories can we tell about the people in this painting?
Just let us know if you'd like the microphone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is probably just obvious, but clearly the two men in the foreground are not listening to the fellow sitting on the wall. They're observing the woman walking by. And in fact, everybody's looking at her, even the fellow on the horse up there and the sculpture in the background. So that's just the first thing on the surface of observation.
Okay, I've never thought about the guy on the horse watching the woman. Yeah. Yeah. So any other thoughts? We have a hand here.
Okay, there you go. Speak right into the microphone.
Isn't that funny? I never had any of those thoughts when I looked at that picture. I thought, there are three guys out here and they're having a nice conversation. And the other guy's looking the other way, but that happens in conversation also. And I just thought they were having a nice morning conversation.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we can definitely see things differently, can't we? Anybody else have a comment?
Too muted.
What about the three men? What can we tell about them other than that they're standing there having a conversation? How are they dressed? Where are they going? Why are they in the park?
They look like workmen,
Workmen, okay.
but they were not working.
But they're not working. All right. What about the woman? How is she dressed? Where is she going?
She looks like she might be a food worker. She has
food worker.
a snoot or a net on her hair. It looks
Okay.
like, I don't know, or at least a cloth on her hair.
Okay, yeah. Anybody else have thoughts about where she might be going?
I think from the hat, she's a flapper.
Okay,
Except from the 20s, and she's walking towards what looks like downtown or the city. So she may be going towards work.
okay. So going towards work, and we've now kind of identified a time frame.
I think she's going to Schrapp's for lunch.
Is that a place in New York City? Ah, thank you. Maybe so. Did someone else have your hand up? Okay. So how would your perception of this painting change if you knew that the artist is a woman? Or does it? Yeah, I heard a yes. In what ways does it change?
Want to share anything?
First of all, it's interesting that we didn't assume that from the beginning, did we?
It's the male gaze.
Ah, the male gaze. Okay. So we've identified a few things about this picture, this painting. There are three men standing around the park talking. They're dressed as workers, but not working. So this was painted in 1930. So why might they not be working? Yeah, and you'll notice one guy has a cane. He might be disabled from World War I, maybe, yeah. And the woman, she is going to work. So Isabel Bishop is our artist. And one of her main themes was the working woman and how World War I and the Depression, and then following that World War II, totally turned gender roles upside down, right? Before World War I, women didn't go to work. But during World War I, women stepped up to take the places of all the men who went off to war, right? And then, of course, many of them came home disabled and the Depression. And, you know, once women started working, a lot of them kind of liked it. They didn't want to stop. Yeah. So this painting to me really encapsulates a moment in time of our gender journey in this country, especially. Any further thoughts before we go to the next one?
Well, just perhaps speaking for all the women here,
Mhm.
I think we've all been in the position of just trying to do our day, but knowing she knew when she went up those steps that she would be observed and judged. And I think we face that every day of our lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, let's go on to the next piece. Now, this is a photograph by Bruce Davidson. What's going on in this picture? Last time we identified the era. What era do you think this is?
This could take place during the civil rights era, or it could take place anytime before. But it's not doesn't look like a good scene if you're African American.
Okay. So in this scene, race is the main influencer of the action, but let's focus on gender. Okay. How would you label the attitude of the standing men?
Definitely confrontational
Confrontational.
and maybe hostile.
What about the sitting man?
He's on the defensive.
Yeah, maybe looks a little worried, right? No? What do you see? No.
The guys standing are smiling. There's no hostility or anger on their faces. It's more like making fun of and feeling they're in the top position, physically as well as culturally. But the young man is looking up, making eye contact. He's not intimidated.
Oh, he's not intimidated.
It appears to us.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely see different things here. It's important. That's why I love talking about art in a group. You get so many different perspectives. Yeah. So how would the scene change if the person seated on the ground was a woman? Oh my, yeah. An immediately response. Yeah. I would say a fear response in my position. Yeah. So what if the person seated on the ground was a man, but the standing people were women? How would that change?
I think it's sort of hard to imagine that. It's hard to imagine a group of women standing there looking down at a guy. Now, it's interesting to speculate, why is that? For me, that's hard to imagine that.
The guy would probably love it.
Yeah, I can only imagine it being sort of a flirtatious thing, maybe. Yeah. So why do you think Bruce Davidson wanted to capture this scene? I'm going to show us the, uh-oh. Oh, there we go. So the title is Time of Change. And the piece was taken in 1963. The photograph was taken in 63. Yeah. So does that clarify a little bit for you what's going on?
But actually, although this is a study about race, if we look very, very carefully, the guy on the far left is also Black. So maybe it's just a bunch of pals having a joke about something, and maybe the guy on the ground has told them something funny. Or maybe they're actually
So
supporters.
this person?
Look at his arm and his face. To me, the scene is not frightening or negative or hostile. It's maybe he's a sports champ on a local team and they're actually giving admiring looks. Maybe he's telling a joke.
Well, we do know that Bruce Davidson, who was a Jewish man, spent many years in the South photographing the civil rights movement. That was, he had a huge series of photographs that he took of the civil rights movement. And again, so many people can see so many things, and all of them are valid experiences of the art, because we want people to experience the art, not just learn about it. And so all of your experiences are indeed correct. So think about all the changes that were going on in 1963. So what were some of those other changes happening? Kennedy, Vietnam, women's lib, second wave feminism, that's right. Yeah. So definitely a time of change. So before we go on to this, just think about, and you can respond if you want to, or you can keep your thoughts inside. In what ways is this piece a mirror for you? In what ways might you see yourself or some experience that you've had? And in what ways is it a window that you get to see into another world that maybe you're not familiar with? Okay, we have another 2 photographs. So, though we usually think of women when we hear the word beauty pageant, men have had their share of being judged for their bodies as well. So let's compare and contrast these 2 photographs. In what ways are they alike? Yeah, I'm hearing some murmuring. So in both, we've got an odd, okay, yes,
Here you go.
Same attire.
same attire. So as little as possible, in other words. Yeah, yeah. And they're on a stage with an audience in both. So the one on the left, Muscle Beach, it's called. Let's imagine how that one might be different if the photographer was a woman. What do you think? How would a woman photographer approach that scene? Hmm?
I think it might be tongue in cheek if it were a woman.
Ah.
Look at these puff adders.
That's a great point. I've also thought that this little boy here might be more the center of attention, because look at the face on that little boy. Hamming it up. Yeah. Okay, how are these 2 photographs different? I heard somebody say a rear end. So this one, the person being judged, we only see from the back. What is the focus of the photograph of the woman's beauty pageant? The audience, the impressions. Look at the looks on their faces. Let's see, I can. Several people have their mouths open, like, and I don't know. I mean, you want to know what's going on. What are they seeing that makes them gasp? Oh, you think it's a man in the bathing suit? Possibility, possibility.
The fashion of it, I think they're looking more like a fashion show with of the women, and they're shocked that it's so tight and revealing and not their norm.
Okay, so
And-
it's shockingly risque,
Yeah, exactly.
even though she's wearing more than these guys over here.
True, but back then, that was considered a little risque to be wearing something that tight and that short. It wasn't the norm.
Yeah.
Or with the men, they all look like they're maybe in a contest or something and competing. And the little kid is just like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of all this.
So what about this guy in the front? How
Well,
does he compare with the other men? Younger. He's kind of skinny, isn't he? In his belly, and he can tell he's sucking in his gut. And these other guys are big, muscly looking. Yeah.
He has very different muscles that are popping out.
Yeah.
If you compare his chest muscles, it looks like the muscles below the whatever those abs or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So Larry Silver was the photographer, Santa Monica, Muscle Beach, California. Yeah. And this Muscle Beach was a place, has anybody been to Muscle Beach? Yeah. And, men would hang around and exercise and show off. And then Esther Buble did the women's beauty pageant in 1953. And she did not title that piece. I'm wondering what you might title it. Pardon?
I'm surprised it's a woman photographer.
Oh.
I think men have more emphasis on the rear ends.
But where is her emphasis in this? Yeah, the audience. Yeah. So her emphasis is on the reaction of people seeing the woman. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. I might call it shocked. Very nice. Okay. Hold on. Oh, did you want to go back to those?
Looking at the male picture, it does look like the audience is mostly men. I comment on that.
Is the comment on that? Perhaps women aren't all that much into looking at lumpy guys. But the guys seem to appreciate it, don't they? Any further thoughts on this one? I'm curious if this is maybe a mirror for anyone. If anyone participated in beauty pageants or contests, or a window into a world that may be a little different for us. Okay, this next is a painting, an oil painting. What can we tell about this person? I heard something. Move luggage. Okay. Okay.
Or he's moving some kind of fluid. Those look like bins of fuel or some other fluid that one could pour.
Okay. Yeah. What else? There's a hand back there, Paige. It's not luggage.
Is it a man or a woman?
Good question. What are your thoughts? What clues do we have? So, thoughts?
I heard earrings.
I heard earrings. So these days, men can wear earrings. Women can wear vests and hard hats. Yeah. But what about those earrings? I wore some today that I thought looked a lot like those. So this person is a woman. Her name is Obira Baya. And our artist, Jeremiah Corshi, is from Ghana. He is a Ghanaian artist. And he did this series of portraits, all of them women, called Yellow is the Color of Water. And he wanted to honor the women of Ghana who were expected to provide water for the family. We know that this woman is an engineer. She has a degree in engineering. And she is enthroned on these yellow plastic jugs. So in Ghana, it's women's work to gather water, even women with degrees and jobs. So in this country, what are jobs that are women are expected to do, even if they have degrees and jobs? Childcare. Yeah, have you ever seen a man work as a maid? I never have. Yeah. What other jobs? Okay, yeah. So that's one that's changed.
Can you
Okay.
repeat that for the Zoom audience?
Yes, nursing used to be a job that was exclusively women, but that is something that has changed in today's world. So these big yellow jugs, this is a cultural thing. If you were Ghanaian, you would know immediately what they are. They're the big jugs that McDonald's and other fast food restaurants receive cooking oil. And when they're empty, they throw them out back. And the women scavenge them to assist in gathering water. Yeah. So that's why these women are enthroned on these yellow jugs. I'm kind of wondering how we might picture a woman from the United States if we wanted to do a similar thing. Maybe sitting on a vacuum cleaner or a washing machine. Okay. Okay, this next one, Jeremiah Corshi, there we go. Whoa. I heard that's weird. It is weird. What's another word you might use to describe it? Violent. Disturbing. Scary. Yeah. So tell me about the characters you see here. I heard, I can't tell what it is. There's anger. Yeah. So there's 3 men and a woman and a puppet. So the puppet is a creation of the photographer Charlie White. And he's named this puppet Joshua. And he's got this whole series of photographs that are the world through Joshua's eyes. And a quote from him says that Joshua is complete male fragility manifest in a body. These photographs show Joshua's perception of the world and Joshua's perception of himself. And in this particular photograph, you can really kind of only see Joshua's face. But in the other photographs where Joshua is, he's very, very skinny, a body almost like a child. And you can tell his face is not attractive. So Charlie White wants to show the world through the gaze of a weak, insecure, unsure man. So what is he seeing here? It's almost like he's being forced to watch, isn't it? They're holding his face there. His eyes are big. The artist says that women and men view these works very differently. I'm curious to hear what you're thinking about this piece. There's an extra arm.
I can't get all the body parts to be attached believably to bodies. There's an extra arm in the,
So here,
yeah, yeah. And then whose hand is that in front of the puppet? Is that the guy in the very background? I guess so, yeah. It's, so among other things, it's a confusing picture.
confusing. That's a great word. I believe this arm, Mary, belongs to the woman. So what about how these characters are dressed? They're in a shower or a bathroom? Yeah, you see ceramic tiles behind them, you think. What about what they're doing to the woman? Paint or milk, something white. We don't know what, yeah. Yeah. So Charlie White says that repressed rage spawns violence. So is he imagining what he would like to do to this woman? Is he saying that men really want to attack women? But if you notice, I mean, it's a horrible attack, but it's milk or something innocuous. It's not like they're stabbing her or something. It's a very interesting choice that the photographer has made. And of course, these are staged photographs. These are not candid like a lot of the photos we've seen. Yeah.
I do not believe it's milk. It's too thick milk.
Okay. So it could be paint. Yeah. So the artist Charlie White and made this photograph in 2000. Let's see. This is by photographer Nan Golden. It's called Valerie in the Light, Bruno in the Dark, Paris. How does the lighting impact how you see these two characters?
She's illuminated and he is back kind of far into the distance, cloaked in darkness.
Oh. How does that impact the way you see them?
I focus on her. He looks like a suspicious character, kind of creeping out of the closet.
And he's kind of all in red in the background, is all red behind her, where she is like just glowing, illuminated by the sun coming through. Yes.
I don't know about the light, but to me, that's an argument. And she is in the position of power at the moment.
Ah, so we can tell some stories about what's going on. It's an argument and she's winning. Anything else? Yes.
Yes, there is something going on like that, and this is a turning point. And she has expressed her liberation, that she's going to be free of this darkness and step into the light. And he's trying to convince her otherwise, and she's not completely sure. So the forehead shows deep thoughts about which way to go.
Oh, that's a great story. Thank you. Anyone else? So I don't know what the quote real story is, but I do want to say that all the stories we come up with are completely valid. We do know that these are friends of the photographer in Paris. So while the photograph definitely lends this creepiness to him, I'm not sure that he's a creep. I don't know, maybe he is, and maybe Nan Golden is kind of revealing that. Maybe she's friends with Valerie. An unhappiness about her. Could definitely see that.
Maybe trying to offer support.
Ah, okay. He could be offering support. Yes.
I have a real simple explanation. This is a photographer who's interested in the play of light and dark, which photographers frequently are. You can make anything you want of it.
Right. But that's the whole thing with the play of light and dark. It gives messages and meanings to the piece, doesn't it? Yes, very much. Very much. Okay. This is one of my favorites in this set. So to start with, let's talk about how the subjects in this photograph are dressed and how that impacts how we see it. So what about, okay, yes.
Of dressing for power.
Dressing for power. And what about the woman? How is she dressing? Oh, power there too. Oh, okay. Does anybody have a different perspective? We talk about power. Where is the power in this scene? He's standing up straight and strong. Facing, yeah. An obsessive amount, excessive of standing up straight. Yes. Determination.
I just think it's really amazing how it intensifies the confrontation that she has bare skin, you know, makes her seem so vulnerable. And they are so completely covered up with every kind of protection. So it's really quite a remarkable picture in that way, I think. And I believe it's not staged, it's real, isn't that right?
This is an actual photograph from a protest march, yes.
Yes, and picking up on that, she is in the greater power position because don't those two in the front, the guys look like they're retracting, especially the one on the far part. He looks like he's stepping back, and she's merely standing there in all her glory and power and vulnerability, holding something in her left hand, some little thing, and with whatever that is dangling down, some kind of ribbon. But she seems to be the one with more power than the other two. And the one in the back, I'm just noticing the front back is, his right hand is kind of open to her. Open, as if can we agree on this? Or whatever, but meanwhile, we'll step back for you.
Yeah. There's a lot you can see. Yes.
She's bracing herself.
Bracing herself.
Look at her feet.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're backing away. I think that they are moving in.
Yeah. You're right. They are moving toward her, but we're also right that you can see the appearance of them almost being thrown back by her power. So yes, we do know they're approaching. She is offering her hands to be arrested. She's standing there willing to be arrested at this protest march. So what about what I call stormtroopers? Yeah. So they're the ones with all the protection and garb and everything. But she's the one that we're assigning power to, right? So Jonathan Bachman is the photographer, and he was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize for this photograph last year. So this was taken in 2016, and this woman traveled to Louisiana from Pennsylvania to take part in this protest when a young Black man was shot by the police. So before we move on to this one, I'd invite you to think about a window and a mirror. What other world are you seeing? What can you see about yourself in this? One thing before we move on, I had a visitor to the Harn comment that because her dress is kind of like black and white spotted, she almost looks like she's coming up from the pavement, like her dress is just growing from the pavement like a tree. Okay. Brittany Taylor's photograph of Erica Hart shows a woman with a body scarred by breast cancer. So, how would you describe this person? Defiant. I like that word. Strong. Yeah. Triumphant. Yeah. So earlier we looked at a beauty pageants where people were judging the ideal body. What about a body that no longer matches the cultural ideal for beauty, or maybe never did? Erica was 28 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's often photographed topless. This one she has on a leotard, but she's often photographed topless, flaunting her scars, determined to publicize and normalize what millions of women deal with in secret. And the photographer, Brittany Taylor, is someone who specializes in photographing people who maybe don't get photographed that much. Transgender people, queer people, people that don't match our cultural norms. Yeah. Erica in Soho, Brittany Taylor. Photograph taken in 2020. So these two photographs by Zanel Muholi of South Africa are self-portraits. What can you tell about the artist by looking at these portraits? Self-knowledge, self-awareness. What makes you say that? Ah,
She doesn't at
okay.
all.
Yeah. Sometimes they feel like the queen, sometimes they don't. Yeah, maybe that's true for all of us to some degree, isn't it? Yeah. And one of my questions was, what does the artist reveal about themselves? Pensive and thoughtful. Yeah. The artist is non-binary, using they, them pronouns. So how does it change the way you look at this person when they are presented in the artist's words as simply human? So there's no gender signifiers here. It's simply a person.
JoLaine, it's interesting to speculate how hard, or did the photographer, that's the person in the picture, right?
Yes.
Did she have to work hard to get rid of gender signifiers or any, I think it would be kind of hard to actually get a photograph that didn't somehow or other indicate gender. Well, do we know this person's gender, the photographer?
This person is non-binary.
Non-binary, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
so they use they, them pronouns.
Well, when I looked at it, I did see gender indicators. That is the hood on the photograph on the right, where she sort of, it is sort of hooded. They is sort of hooded, I guess, not it. And then they is sort of wearing a crown on the other side and gloves. I don't know. I did jump to a conclusion. I was looking at a female.
Uh-huh. Yeah. In what way are these two photographs a window into a different world? And is there any way it could be a mirror?
I see a fist on the right and a non-fist on the left. I think that is significant.
How is that significant for you? What does that say for you?
Readiness and it's okay.
Readiness. Yeah. Okay. A readiness, and it's okay. I love that. I love that. And we had someone mention light and dark earlier, and photographers working with light and dark. And to me, this is just an incredible feat of light and dark, both of these photographs. Okay, I wanted us to end on a very happy note. I see a lot of smiles out there. So what makes this photograph powerful?
I'm always pleased to see men caring for a child, the father. That, to me, that's a confident person that feels comfortable in a more maternal role.
Mm. Yeah, when we were looking at the Jeremiah Corshi portrait of the woman seated on the yellow jugs, and I said, what are some of the gender assigned roles today? Someone immediately said childcare.
Yeah, to me, there's no power other than the ordinariness of the vision.
Can ordinary be powerful?
Well, I suppose when you blow it up to a screen, it would be. I'm curious, what's the symbol of the bracelet? I forgot. There, it's a symbol of something, but I don't know what it
It's
is.
called an Ankh, A-N-K-H. It's Egyptian and it means life. Life, yes. What else can we tell about these people? Are they comfortable child caregivers? This reminds me when I was much younger and had a small child. Philip was out with his dad riding the bus to go somewhere. We lived in Louisville, Kentucky, and this person looked at my husband and said, "Oh, you drew you're babysitting today." And he's like, "No, this is my son." But it is so unusual for a man to take child responsibilities. I love the title of this piece, Father and Seeds, Jamel Shabazz. Father and Seeds. What about calling the children seeds? You think these children might grow up with a little bit different attitude? Maybe a little different perspective of gender roles? Maybe they're planting seeds? Yeah. Jamel Shabazz is an artist who focuses in New York City and the African American community. Yes, what's your comment?
I was just going to say, it's possible that the two adults are a couple, and those are their two kids.
It is entirely possible, yeah.
Yeah, the ages look about 18 months apart. And what's that? Well, that's a good point.
Actually, it's not. It's from, whoops,
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
It's 2014. Yeah, the artist was born in 1960. Yeah. Okay. We don't have next week. Kim Friend will be doing a presentation, Storytelling Through Art. And you can already start telling your stories about this piece and be ready for her. Thank you so much for your participation. I loved hearing from all of you.
Oh, wow, I had missed all the chat. Oh. May save that and send it? Sure. Will it be available in the video? Well, I know that was lovely. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can't we go on? And then we're from the Unitarian Church. Oh, yeah. How did they clear the residual oil? I have no idea. Oh, well, yeah. Bill, yeah. Thank you so much for helping. Thank you. Good.
Do we have to sign up for that?
I don't know. I'll have to get with Laura and see how she wants to proceed with that.
What's your interpretation of non-binary?